potential into performance. Michelle helped hundreds of organizational leaders discover growth opportunities, increase productivity, and implement action plans to achieve measurable and sustainable results. As an organizational development expert, she facilitates growth strategies for organizations in the United States, Europe, and Africa. Catalyst Success Institute, the entrepreneurial development division of Catalyst Enterprises, helps entrepreneurs break through self-sabotaging paradigms to make quantum leaps in their business mindset, methods, and money. Clients experience sustained growth in their businesses aligned with their vision and desired lifestyle. Michelle has authored 2 books, A View from the Top, Exceptional Leadership Strategies for Women, and Female CEO, Pearls, Power, and Passion. These are for women who want to unapologetically stand in the power of their femininity, share their brilliance and uniqueness of talents with the world, and get paid what they are worth. So, we're so very pleased to have Michelle with us today. So without further ado, grab your teacup, ignore your email for an hour, and please welcome Dr. Michelle Dawson.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for having me today. It's really a pleasure to be a part of this webinar. It's on a subject that I'm very passionate about, and you'll see why as we go through the presentation. And so, just like the title says, the unique brilliance factor, I'm going to explain what that is and provide you 5 strategies to become a brand in demand. And why I'm so passionate about this, because oftentimes when I talk with people in business, have their own business or working for someone else, they often feel muted in a competition, or they're attempting to communicate their value of what they do, but still unable to distinguish themselves from competitors or from other people who have similar skill sets and similar talents. Another thing that I've found is sometimes it's hard to describe and promote yourself with confidence, and that's why it's so important to be able to do that and have the skills to be able to promote yourself with confidence. And we often know that deep inside we have many accomplishments, we have gifts, we have talents, we know we can make a difference, but it seems like we're missing out on opportunities because we can't effectively communicate what's amazing about the service, the product, or talents that we have, and how that amazing service talent or that we have communicates into helping a company grow or your business grow. So as we go through this webinar, I want you to imagine a couple things. Imagine if you could stand out in a crowded marketplace because of your authentic brand brilliantly captures the personality and passion of you and what you do. Imagine if you could capture the attention you desire because you've unlocked that powerful, instantly recognizable presence, being acknowledged as an expert and a leader in your field. Imagine if you could close more deals or more promotions because you are seen as the answer to the problem. About those 3 things I said to imagine about, and what would this mean for you personally or professionally? We talked today about your unique brilliance factor. Understand that your unique brilliance factor is the foundation for creating your personal brand. It's about identifying and communicating what makes you unique and relevant and compelling, and how it's essential for reaching your career goals or your business goals. Know that branding is all about differentiation. It's leveraging what makes you exceptional who will stand out from others who offer seemingly similar qualifications, credentials, and expertise. If you're an entrepreneur or you have a corporate career, your brand plays a major role in your success. And when you become clear about your brand, your career will take off and have greater meaning and fulfillment. So I'm really excited to share with you today. And so when we think about the objectives that we're going to cover today, there's 3 to cover with you. How to discover your unique brilliance. Second is action steps that you can implement immediately to use your unique brilliance to create a sustainable brand. Thirdly, how to leverage your brand to stand out and grow personally and professionally. So when we finish today, those are the 3 objectives that I plan to meet through the presentation. Just to give you a little bit about myself, my career started as a scientist. I'm actually aquatic toxicologist by training. And so I started working in the early 90s at the bench, working in the laboratory. And one of the things that I found in working in the laboratory that I would find many inefficiencies in the processes, and so I began making recommendations and about how the adjustments that could be made in order to bring a better quality of product and better quality of outcome for my department. And so as a result of making these recommendations, even though I was still in the lab, my management began to take notice, and so they began to recommend me for a management program, a management position, and so to help that department grow. And so what I realized early was I really enjoyed discovering and implementing new systems, so that I went back and worked on my master's and my doctorate to get the theory behind what I really enjoyed doing. And so as I continued to progress in my company, I was working for a Fortune 50 chemical company, number one chemical company in the world at that time. I began being sought out for new assignments to go to other departments to do the same thing in order to implement new systems, to look at how things were being done and where were the breakdowns and what can be done to streamline the processes. And so they moved me into a position for about 7 years where I was traveling all over the world to different strategic business units doing this same thing, just looking at their internal workings, how could it be better? And so then I got to a point in about 2004. I remember I was in Germany, and we did an incredible launch, successful launch. CEO was aware of a very highly visible project. And I decided I didn't want to do this anymore. And so I had to figure out, well, what is it that I really wanted to do? And I knew what I wanted to do was what I was doing corporately as far as helping this large conglomerate to be successful. I wanted to be able to take that skill, take that passion, and help individuals and smaller organizations experience the same transformation. One thing that was the challenge was, although I was known in corporate America, I had to begin to build a brand and make a brand visible for people who didn't know me outside the corporation that I was sitting in. And before I was able to do that, there was a lot of, even though I was very confident, very successful in my corporate job, once I stepped out, I found that my confidence wasn't as strong. I think what I did was I made the company my brand, rather than understanding that I was the brand and what I brought to the company. So what I learned as I started working in my own company and things really began to take off, one thing I learned in watching people and I observed people is, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, being in a room with people or someone walks in a room, and it seems like when they walk in that room, there's an instantly attract attention without even trying. They don't say anything. It's just their mere presence without opening their mouth. It's confidence that exudes out of them, and people can see it, and people know what they bring. So I had to understand what made them, how did that come to being. So I'm sure we all have seen people in that light. And we may have seen people that make us think like this picture of this baby. They may come into a room and they may talk about themselves, but their brain is not that clear, so it's boring. It doesn't cause people to want to question, ask more about what they do, how they do it, where they do it. And so we don't want to have that kind of reaction to us when we're talking with people, when we're interacting with people. And so we've known people that when we've had conversations with them and they're talking about themselves or what they do, it may be boring or it doesn't have anything that excites or comes across. And a lot of times, sometimes we can do this too, and it can come across not necessarily in what we say, but in our body language, lack of confidence, and also in ways that we communicate. We may go to the other extreme. Well, this woman, she's saying, huh? And what he's wondering is, you've talked to someone and they dibble and dabble in so many different things that you don't know what it is that they're good at. You don't know what their brand is. And we have something that's called brand confusion. And so it's almost like the the common phrase that people say as far as us women being a Jane of all trades but a master of none. And so trying to do everything to appease everyone, yet in doing that, we really don't bring clear value, and people can't understand what you bring to the table, so they don't invite you to the table. And one thing about when your brand is clear, people will invite you to the table because they can see what you can bring. Look at this next slide. Why does branding matter? And I put a quote at the bottom here that says, personal branding is all about unearthing what is true and unique about you and everyone know about it. And that's taken from a quote from the book 2.0 by Dan Schwabel. And what it's saying is branding is not something that you can separate, have your business brand or your corporate brand or your professional brand and your personal brand. It's all about you. It's all intertwined. So when we think why, it's like the statement I have on here. Why is branding important? Why does branding matter? With branding, people set expectations based on a brand. An example, cars. The whole intent of cars is to move you from point A to point B. Any car functions if it has engine, transmission is working, wheels on it, steering is fine. It'll get you from point A to point B. When we look at the brand, called Mercedes-Benz, it also gets you from point A to point B. But that's not what the Mercedes brand represents. The brand sells you an experience. It sells you a feeling. It sells you on how you want to arrive or how you want to travel from point A to B. It sells you on the status. So it's not just being able to accomplish, but all that's entailed, the feeling behind it. And so even with our own personal brand, it's more than just being able to do a job. It's the passion. We'll talk about this and what other things that we bring to the table. When we think of branding, it's important to take charge of your own individual brand. Whether you work on your brand intentionally or not, you have a brand. They're reading you all the time. They're watching you. And so when you take charge of your brand, there's three things you need to do. First is important to define your brand. They say, well, I don't know what the definition of my brand. What people say when you're in the room? Sometimes it's important to ask people, what do you think of me? The second thing is to develop brand. In developing your brand is when you're revealing to the world who you are and what you stand for. People know that. And you think of different brands around the world, whether it's Starbucks. When you hear Starbucks, people think of coffee. When you hear Nike, you think of athletic shoes and athletic gear and getting into motion. And just like the Nike slogan, just do it, getting people to step out of comfort zone. So the third thing when you're developing your brand is communicate. And we'll talk more about this as we go through this presentation today. Through your work and life, we communicate our brand continually. It's important for us to be conscious and intentional in what we communicate. We must remember that whether you don't, like I said, you don't have a business brand and a personal brand, there's a brand called Brand You, whether you build it intentionally or not. And our goal today is to let you know it's important to build it intentionally, and you can build it intentionally, adjusting the time that's necessary. We're talking about branding yourself, but a different twist on it, and I call it the unique brilliance factor. Unique brilliance factor, as you see here, it is your skills, your talents, your abilities infused with your values, your passions, and your beliefs. It goes beyond what you're able to do in your abilities, but it brings the total you. And when you think of those three words, we know what skills, talents, and abilities, that's what you're able to do. That's what you bring to the table. But when you infuse those things with your values, and when I say the word values are those stable, long-lasting beliefs about what is important to you. Become standards by which people order their lives and make their choices. These are your non-negotiables. Some things that in life that we set standards for and say, if this happens or this doesn't happen, we walk away from the table. Those are our values. Those are non-negotiables. When you think about passions, those are the things that bring you true joy. It seems like when you're doing those things that you're passionate about, time flies. And when you're doing them, and you can't believe, and if you're really doing your passion and you've been fortunate that your job or your business is your passion, you can't even believe that you're actually getting paid to do this. That's when you're able to operate in your passion. And the third one being your beliefs. A belief is an idea that a person holds true. And beliefs can be developed or come from different sources. It can come from your own personal experiences. It can come from acceptance of your culture or societal norms, or it can be what other people have said to you, your education or mentors have spoken to you. And so you want to make sure as you bring forth your unique brilliance factor, that's what makes you shine out from all the rest. So when you think about your unique brilliance factor, the first step, you have to know yourself and your time on this journey to really get to know the authentic you. And in my work with different organizations and individuals, sometimes people are more focused on what they've been told they are rather than really getting an understanding of who they are. I see a statement on this slide also. I wrote it. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. So to really step in your brilliance, it begins with the journey of truly get to know who you are. Like I said on here, what holds people back is their own mindset in many cases. They believe they're not what they believe they cannot do. And what I call self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging beliefs. These beliefs can come from influences from family or upbringing or experiences, or even fear of making a mistake, or if you've made some kind of mistake, fear of making another mistake. I know in my career there's been times when I've made bad decisions or bad mistakes, and it took courage to step out again. And so it's the same thing with knowing yourself and not allowing those self-limiting or self-sabotaging beliefs to cause you from not stepping into who you really are and what you can really accomplish and what you're really passionate about. Look at the strategies that I talked about, the 5 strategies, and we're going to start with the first one. The first strategy in developing and using your unique brilliance factor is to get clear on your unique brilliance. And this is a quote that I have hanging in my office, and I look at this all the time, and it keeps me encouraged. It keeps me moving forward. And it says, there may be hundreds of people that do what you do, but none of them can be you doing it. That's what makes you unique. That makes you stand out. And so it doesn't matter that there may be, hundreds or thousands or millions of people that may have the same skill set that you, that may have the same education that you have, that may have the same years of experience that you have. They don't have your personality. They don't have your history. They don't have your character. They don't have what makes you you. And just like this picture here where it's a fingerprint, each one of us, with all the people in the world, are uniquely identified by our individual, unique fingerprint. It's the same thing with your unique brilliance. Unique brilliance is what makes you, and when you couple that with your skills, your talents, and ability, that's what makes you really stand out. What are some of the things that we need to do in order to get clear on our unique brilliance? One is think about, where have you been and where are you now? I began sharing the story about my corporate journey and my career, early in my career, how I looked at, what are the positions that I have? What are the assignments that I had? What was I doing in those positions? Begin to look at your track record and what you've done up to this point. The second is discover your common threads. All the work that you've done, not just in your career, but even personally, the things that you enjoy doing. What are the common threads that you see throughout all those positions and those things that you do? Being able to look at processes and immediately determine where the issues were and how to resolve them. Those things, when I can look at it and see it, was what got me excited because I knew I could bring a solution to it. Then the track record. Well, Where it was more of a drudgery for you? Where that you had to put more effort? Where was it that kind of skated right through? So look at your track record, and it's important that when you look at your track record to be honest with yourself in what you were able to accomplish or what you weren't able to accomplish. What are your strengths? What are the ways that you did excel, and what strengths help you to excel? It's just not the fact that you excel. What were you able to excel? Don't think just about your technical strengths, but also your interpersonal strengths. Was it your ability to lead a team? Was it your ability to deal with conflict? Was it your ability to motivate people, inspire people to move to a completion, in order to reach that goal? What are those strengths that you brought to the table that were a common thread throughout this process? What environments did you most enjoy working in? Some enjoy working in team environment with groups of people. Some enjoy working alone. For me, I can work well with a team, but as an introvert, I enjoy working alone as well. So you find, where do you thrive? What environments help you thrive? What environments help you grow and help you move forward and you enjoy the most in? Last one, what have you found that comes most easily to you? When you look back at your career, the things that you're doing, the things that you've been able to accomplish, what were those things that came easy to you versus things that you had to really work and struggle through? So when you look at that, that begins to unveil and reveal your unique brilliance, what makes up that brilliance that you have. Once you get clear on that, and sometimes it takes some time, as I was sharing with my experience and my journey from transitioning from corporate America to being a business owner in my own consulting firm, when I said I didn't do this anymore, it took some time for me to really get clear on what it was that I wanted to do and how I wanted to do and how I wanted to present myself as doing it. And so some people know it instantaneously. Some people it's a process that may take several weeks or several months. But whatever time it takes, invest the time to do that, really get clear so that you can begin building on this. Remember I said when we first started, your unique brilliance factor is the foundation of building a strong, sustainable brand. Step number 2, after you're clear on your unique brilliance, the next step is to line your brand with your brilliance. It may seem like it's common or an automatic thing, but not necessarily so with people I've found. So first, why is alignment so important? When you have your personal brand, you could figure out how to use it with the corporate culture in which you work. It's an authentic exchange of assets. You're giving them your unique brilliance through your brand and helping them accomplish their goal, and they're achieving the goals and objectives of their company. Developing a personal brand is more than insurance in a volatile workforce. It establishes a clarity of career goals. It allows you to chart your career course by taking assignments that help you grow and develop. Like I said before, building your brand and with the underlying foundation of your unique brilliance factor helps you guide your career or your business very intentional. And you want to be intentional in building your brand. Pitfalls of not having an aligned brand, and I see a lot of people fall in this. And pitfalls of not having an aligned brand is increased stress because you're not productive. It doesn't align with your values, what you're passionate about, what your belief system may be. It's just a job that you do. And feeling that you're truly realizing the impact or experience the impact that you know you can make and contribute to your organization or to your company. And so we won't want to get in a drudgery with what we're doing and a drudgery because it's just a job. But we won't feel that we're really contributing and that what we're bringing to the table is something that's needed and it's valued and it's appreciated. And so about the next area, ways to align your brand. There's several ways to align your brand by asking some simple questions. What does the company stand for? What mission, values, and vision? Being clear on that. What personal brand? What are your mission? Your vision for yourself, your values. Can you identify with the work that your company does? Are you motivated to go to work? What do you enjoy? Do you have an opportunity to add value that is remarkable, measurable, and different? Are you doing the right job for who you are and what skill set you have? Do yourself and your personal brand being able to grow with this company? Can you build your brand here? Another question would be, does the company's ethics align with your right or wrong, align with your sense of right and wrong? And so those things are very important. And when and being able to answer those questions and clear on those questions and say that, yes, this company or what I'm doing does align with my brand and what I want my brand to be, it makes things flow a lot easier as you're growing yourself and you're growing in your career. Strategy that I want to share with you is speak the language of the audience that can benefit from your unique brilliance. The words that resonate with those that you want to benefit from your unique brilliance, whether it's in a position or career, has to be words that connect with them. What's important to them? And so when we think about it, it's how do you convey how your unique brilliance provides a solution. We could be as brilliant as we want. We could have an incredible brand. But if we cannot communicate to those who can benefit from our brand the solution we bring, how does this help them grow? How does this help them reduce? If there's a challenge they have, how do we help minimize our brand and what we can bring to the table, help minimize that? And so you have to connect the dots. You can't assume that just because you're present, people will get it. And so it's almost like the phrase, if you bid, they will come. No, you have to know how to convey your unique brilliance and convey it in a way that it brings a solution. It provides an answer. And so that's so important to be able to do that. And then beyond being able to do that, what's important is you convey this, bring this solution, but it also helps others to understand the value of that solution you bring. And what is the cost if that solution is not brought about? The value can be quantifiable as financial, setting things in order, or building morale. Whatever it is, having this solution, could it cause the organization or client to miss out on or not achieve something that's important to them? And so that's really important for you to be able to be clear on how does this solution that my unique brilliance and my brand brings quantify or help the organization to move forward. So understanding when you communicate to your right audience, and understand the right audience, whether it's a corporate setting or an entrepreneur, are those that need you have, offer, and willing to make the investment. One that I learned early in my career that translated also in business was the fact that I had to, even in corporate, with those who needed the services that I can do or the skills that I could bring. I found out who was having problems in their department as far as productivity and efficiency, and began to speak with them and share with them and let them see what it is what I've been able to do in other departments, which made them willing to make investment as far as whether it was creating a position for a special assignment or just moving me over or asking for me to be put on a special assignment to help them. So being able to communicate that has made a big, big difference in my progress moving forward, and will do the same for you. But getting clear and taking time to look, this is what I bring to the table, but how does that help where I want to go, and being able to communicate that as well. Look at the next strategy. Spotlight your unique brilliance. And it's important to know how to stand unapologetically in your unique brilliance. I find a lot of people, they shy away from it. They assume that people will recognize it. But when you do this, it will cause people to be drawn to you and people to recognize and people to see what it is that you bring. And then as we transition from the last strategy, number 3, speak the language of your audience so that they can benefit from your unique brilliance. It all means nothing if there's no visibility of your unique brilliance. How making yourself visible? How do people know what you can bring to the table? How do people know the value, the benefit that they can have in working with you, having you work with them? We want to be known as the best kept secret. There's so many brilliant, talented people who are just that. They're great at what they do. They're brilliant at what they do, but it's a big secret because of that visibility is not there. I find in working with women, oftentimes women struggle with self-promotion. But self-promotion is the key to having a brand in demand, and we confuse self-promotion with bragging. Self-promotion is simply letting people know what you can do. And so when we get comfortable in doing that, it makes a difference as far as bringing the spotlight on our unique brand and what we bring to the table. A couple ways that we can spotlight our unique brilliance. The first one is the power of publicity. If you see in this picture, it says publicity is giving someone a reason to talk about you. Now, we want people to talk about us in a good way. So when you think about ways that you can get publicity, look at what you've accomplished. Don't be afraid to toot your own horn. If you've been successful on a project, don't be afraid to share the success that you've helped to contribute on a project. This means if it means putting in for an award, if no one else puts in for an award, you can nominate yourself. I know in some companies you can self-nominate. If you work for yourself and you're an entrepreneur, you have a business, there's different organizations, associations that give awards for growth in business. You can self-nominate. And so what it does is when people see these awards, it brings attention to you. It shares publicity. There are press releases that are made. When awards in corporations as well, when an award is given in a corporation, it's sent out to the department or even beyond the department. So your name is getting out there, and it's tied to something that you help accomplish. Another thing as far as getting publicity is getting a mentor or a sponsor. This was something that was really big in corporate work there. And having a sponsor in an organization, someone who was higher than where I was, what it did, they helped raise my visibility because they got to know who I was, and they connected me with other people that I didn't automatically have direct access to. And so that made a big difference. So getting a mentor or even a sponsor, someone who can help raise your awareness in your organization. And like I said, if you're in business for yourself, don't be afraid to ask for referrals and testimonials. When you're someone and you've done a great job for them, ask them, is there anybody else that you know that could benefit from how I've been able to help you? Testimonials, what have you been able to do with those that you served? And also letters of recommendation for people you work with, whether it's in a corporate setting or whether it's in a business setting. In a corporate setting, if you've worked on a project, ask for feedback, ask for it to be documented. Many companies have feedback systems such as 360 feedback. And so a lot of times when we think about these systems, we think only about it in regards to performance review, or at the end of the year when we have a performance review that may dictate whether or not we get a bonus. But it's important to collect this, be intentional and active in collecting this information, because what it will do, it will highlight your strengths, but it will also show you places of improvement so that you advance in the work. What it does, as you're collecting this information and you're able to say, and share this with other people, this is what you did on this project, this is how you were able to move forward in this project, and this is how the company or the organization benefited with you serving on this project. Look at another way. The first one was in spotlighting your unique brilliance, the power of publicity area, or another way to spotlight your unique brilliance is the power of partnership. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone and partner with others. And so figure, well, how do I do that in a corporate setting? Volunteering to be on a team that highlights your ability and helps a team reach their overall goals provides a win-win for you and for the team or the organization. Sometimes I found that people are afraid to offer what they have, the skills they have, and feel they have to wait to be asked. You don't have to wait to be asked. If there's a project that you see or something that you see, be willing to step up. The worst that can happen is they tell you no. It's not the end of the world. And so if you ask and you're told no, let them know that you're interested in future opportunities, and so that keeps you top of mind of people. So it's important as you're building partnerships and you're building these alliances and participating on teams that help leverage your unique brilliance and your brand. Be clear what you would bring to the partnership. If you volunteer to be on a team or want to partner with someone in business, don't just what they can give to you, but what can you bring? Be willing and be able to communicate that clearly so that they can see what it is and the value that you bring. One thing I say is important is people know what's in it for them. Even if you're building your personal brand using your unique brand factor, be able to communicate what is it for them. Yes, the things that you're going to benefit from, but what is it that your unique brilliance and your brand can bring, and how can it benefit them? You're going to have to be the one to connect the dots and paint that picture. The better way that you can connect and paint that picture, the more advantageous and the more opportunities that open themselves up to you. And looking at the next area, how to spotlight your unique brilliance, is the power of the podium. So we talked about the power of publicity, getting your name out there, getting people talking about what you do, what you bring, the power of partnership, leveraging what you bring with others that need what you have and value what you have. The third is the power of the podium. I emphasize enough how important presentations are. Whether it's giving a summary of a project that you're working on within your organization or your department, or a presentation at a professional association, the podium is a powerful place to spotlight your unique brilliance. And what happens when you're able to make these presentations, it doesn't matter whether it's a 10-minute presentation, a 30-minute presentation, an hour presentation, it gives you a captive audience in order to shine and be seen as an expert in your field or an expert in what the project may be. So what I found, the biggest fear that people have is public speaking, but this is one of the best ways to raise your visibility quickly. And so I encourage people to find associations, find opportunities. When there's an opportunity to present or to provide an overview, be willing to step up and take advantage of that opportunity so that others can see and benefit from what you bring to the table. Strategy number 5. So when we think of strategy number 5, it's about creating accountability on your unique brilliance. It's not enough just to know it and to value it and to bring visibility around your unique brilliance and your personal brand, but take accountability around it. What do I mean by bringing accountability or bringing about or creating accountability around your unique brand? It's important to set growth goals. What do I mean by setting growth goals? As you set out to discover or recover or refine or revamp your personal brand around your unique brilliance, set goals how you plan to grow it. A lot of times I find that people find this unique brilliance and they float on that. They don't invest the time to refine it, to grow it, to enhance it, to raise its visibility. And so when you think of it, we talked about spotlighting your unique brilliance. What are your goals around visibility? Be things of how many presentations you want to make, looking for presentations that you can make in order to raise your visibility. How are you going to go about doing that? Another goal could be around personal development. Even though it's something that you're passionate about, you're gifted, you're talented, you have the abilities, you have your beliefs that underline it, and your values and passion that underlines it, we can all develop even more in our unique brilliance. What are you reading? What course are you taking to in order to know what is the latest needs, what is the latest technology as it is around your unique brilliance and your personal branding? What solutions are people looking for that you meet that you may not have considered before? So spending time and setting goals of how you're going to raise your visibility, how you're going to develop personally in your unique brilliance, and then also another one would be around a career change more in line with your brand. Sometimes it may require a career change. It may not mean leaving a company. It may be going in another direction, another department in the company, or it could mean going to another company. But what are your goals? Setting a plan in place to move forward in those areas. That's how you're able to, by setting those goals, to discover, rediscover, refine, and revamp your personal brand and keep it fresh and moving forward. Mentor. I mentioned this before. Choose a mentor that will help you stand powerful. And do this, what will happen is as different challenges come, it can cause you to shrink back. But if you find a mentor that will stand with you and hold you in a place of power as you live your life honoring your unique brilliance is so key. Who do you have around you? Sometimes we call it the dream team. Who do you have around you that supports you, that encourages you, that's willing to be honest, that would tell you if there's confusion around your brand as far as who you say you want to represent and what actions that you're doing, how they're representing. So having the right team around you or a mentor around you is so key to making sure that you're building your brand around your unique brand and that you're keeping it authentic as you're moving forward. When you think of creating accountability around your unique brilliance, ask yourself, when you make decisions, if I'm fully operating in my unique brilliance, how would I handle the situation? And so when you ask yourself that question as you're moving forward, as you're looking at different opportunities that present themselves, every opportunity may not be aligned with your unique brilliance and your personal brand. Think of different companies and different organizations that have stepped outside of their unique brilliance and their unique brand. It causes confusion. And confusion comes and it causes people not to make a decision. In the world of business, a confused mind doesn't buy. And so even as you think of your career and you making decisions and choices you have to make, ask yourself this question. And I ask myself this question on a regular basis. If I was fully operating in my unique brilliance in this current situation, how would I handle it? Would my answer or my decision be different? Would I move different? Would I answer people different? Would I even consider this as an opportunity, or does it diminish or cause confusion in my unique brilliance? And so by asking that question, it helps keep you in line and keep you moving forward to a place of authenticity and a place of not being as stressed. There may be pressure, but not stressed because you're operating in line with those things that are true to who you really are. So when we think about this, what we've talked about today, how you discover your unique brilliance. When we talked about how you discover your unique brilliance, it's really getting clear on where you've been, what you've done, how you've done it, and where the success was in doing it. Where are strengths? What are it that you enjoy? What came easy to you? What was your record behind it? And so it's important that you take time to discover your unique brilliance factor to lay that proper foundation for your personal brand. The thing we talked about is setting the action steps or having clear action steps that you can immediately implement using your unique to create a sustainable brand. Action steps, what are opportunities that you have right in front of you to raise visibility? What opportunities you have to partner? What are opportunities that you have to communicate the value and the solutions that your brand will bring, and so that other people are aware of that? And the third thing we talked about is how to leverage your brand to stand out and grow personally and professionally. As you communicate, as you spotlight your unique brilliance, other people will begin to shine as well. People will begin to talk about what you're able to do. They will seek you out. And so it's nothing better than people coming to you and saying, I heard you're really good at this. I heard that the goals that you were able to help this organization, this person, this department to achieve, and I would like to have you come help us do the same. People will begin to value. When you value your unique brilliance and your personal brand, other people will value it as well. And so as we finish this webinar, I just wanted to say that I think everyone has the possibility to be brilliant. Everyone has a unique brilliance factor. Unfortunately, some people don't take the time or haven't taken the time to know what that unique brilliance factor is. But I hope through attending this webinar and listening to the 5 strategies that we talked about today, it will spark, if you don't know your unique brilliance factor, that it will spark something in you to begin to discover or rediscover or refine or reframe the unique brilliance factor that you have. And so I want to give you an opportunity that if you would like to have a copy of this presentation after this webinar is over, you can go to this website, uniquebrilliancefactor.com, for a copy of this presentation. There's several other tips that I would love to have been able to give you about. There's another about 12, 13 tips that I also have created and strategies, and if you would like those additional tips, you go right there and you'll be able to download those as well. And I know we have an opportunity for some questions, but if you would like to have some time to speak with me one-on-one, I'm offering 20-minute complimentary consults to talk about your unique brilliance as well, your challenges and your goals around that. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. Again, my name is Dr. Michelle Dawson, and wishing you the best. And now I'll turn it back over to our moderator for questions.
Thank you, Michelle, and everyone there. I know there are many folks out there who are thinking, wow, I want to know what my brilliance factors are, so you better take Michelle up on that offer. That's incredible. And I don't know if you know this, but Michelle, I'm a mind reader, because I know that there are women and we have a few men that are sitting there and they're thinking, all right, self-motion is just not my strong suit. It's just so hard. This is amazing stuff, but it's just so hard. And I can be like that as well sometimes. And when I think, what would I tell my best friend? What would I tell a trusted colleague about what you need to do? Like, take your own advice. If you were talking to a friend and telling them what to do, you'd probably be able to give a lot of advice. Now, so what do you tell people, Michelle, when they say, I'm really good at my job, but God, I just can't blow my own horn? Like, how do you get people just over that hump to do that?
So I've struggled with that as well, and I thought it was a negative thing to be able to toot my own horn or to share. And I just figure, well, if people see it, people will do it, and they'll talk, for me and share for me. But what happened was I kept getting passed over for promotions and passed over for opportunities, and I had to come to realize that even for me communicating what I brought to the table, my talents, my abilities, my unique brilliance factor, it was benefit to them. It was almost like me being selfish, not willing to share. So it wasn't just wonderful I am, but it was in order for me to help bring solutions to benefit this company that is helping me build a lifestyle that I want to have, for me to help other people step in when I deal with my entrepreneurial division, help people step into life that they desire to have by accomplishing these things. So I had to reframe it where it wasn't about what I got out of it, even though I got some things out of it, but about the solution. Why would I withhold the solution that I know I can bring to this organization?
Change your mindset. It's hard to think this is all me. I'm here to help and bring solutions to other people, and that was
right.
the thing that helped you move forward.
Absolutely,
right.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Someone here who can identify with you and changing careers, and when you started to build your own consulting firm, in that same vein. So this person has been in the same industry for over 10 years, and says it's hard to break out when you've been used to something for so long. So what other advice or what further suggestions could you give to someone who'd like to make a change and bring that their new brand as well along with that change?
Right. That's a great question. A lot of times when people looked at the transition made from corporate to starting my own consulting firm, they just knew I was with this company. The next day I was working for myself. But I didn't understand, it was really a 2-year process for me. In 2004 is like when I was sharing the story when I was in Germany and sitting at this, product launch party we were having and we were celebrating, and it came to me, I just don't want to do this anymore. I took time to really get clear on what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, where a market for what I wanted to do. I had to make sure, and I think I mentioned this as we were going through the webinar, was I sure that I could find people who needed what I had to offer, viewed what I had to offer, and willing to pay for what I had to offer. And so during that 2-year period, I did a lot of research, and I came up with a transition plan because, you can't be, if we were independently wealthy where we could just walk off, well, we wouldn't be working a job if we were independent wealthy. But if we have, money so stacked that we could just walk off a job and then figure it out. Well, I wasn't in that position where I could do that. I knew I needed to keep working while I was this process and going through this process. And so for 2 years, that's what I did. I started really researching who my ideal market would be, my need would be, what were the challenges that they were having where I would bring a solution. They typically value getting that solution enough that they would pay for it. It wasn't something like, well, it'd be nice to have a solution, but it's not enough pain for me not to work to pay for it. Yeah. And so then I began to build a small clientele, taking my business part-time with some clients until I grew it to a point where I was able to replace my current income, and then I transitioned over. So like I said, it was a 2-year process, putting things in place, putting systems in place, so that when I walked out the door, the 29th of June, 2007, I already had things going.
And you were making that transition, going through those 2 years, I'm sure you had sponsors and champions that you turned to for help along various stretches of new growth. We get questions in different webinars when the topic of sponsors are brought up. How do you find a sponsor? So it's really something that we can't get enough of. What are your top strategies for finding the right sponsor at the right time?
Well, what I ended up doing was, and I mentioned this about, first I got a mentor to help me. I mean, I knew what I can do, but I didn't necessarily know how to build a business around what I could do. So I began to surround myself with people who had already gone down the path where I was starting to work out and walked in. One of the things that with the company that I started, consulting company, my overhead was very low, so I didn't have to, raise a lot of capital to get started. But I did need to be around people who could tell me about the business of consulting and not just the acts of consulting. So I found people, and I started associating and networking and becoming part of associations with people who were already down the path where I wanted to go, and started building relationships. And so that's really key about building relationships and looking at ways, how could I help them? It wasn't that I just wanted to find out how can you help me, but what can I do? And starting out, you may figure, well, I'm just starting, I don't really have anything to offer. We all have something to offer. So finding out what it is that you have to offer that can help somebody else, where in turn they can help you as well. So I would say the first thing is find someone or find a group or organization that's already doing what you want to do, so you can see and talk to them about what are some of the pitfalls. I figure my thing is, if you fell and bump your head, it hurt. I don't need to fall and bump my head to validate that it hurts. If you tell me it hurts, then I know not to go that way. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Great answer. Thank you for all of those tips. Someone wanted to know, again, back on the topic of self-promotion, a fine line between self-promotion and bragging. How to balance the two so you don't turn off your audience.
The best example I can give is, let's say if I'm a consultant, I'm working with a company, and I can say bragging. I can say I'm the best consultant in town. This is why you hired me. There's no one better. That's bragging. Self-promotion is when I can, like a case study, I say, when this company brought me on, or this organization brought me on, these were their issues, and this is what the issues were costing them. As a result of me working with them and helping them put the right systems and processes in place, this is what they were able to gain. This is what they were able to minimize. So self-promotion doesn't focus on you as a person. It focuses on the results that you bring. No one argue with the results that you bring.
That's easy. That's a good way to know. You're not bragging if you're just telling the truth, right?
You're just telling the truth. You're just telling. You got the numbers. You got the numbers to prove it. You have stats to prove it. You have the outcomes to prove it, changes to prove it, the transformation to prove it. You focus on that. That makes it, because like I said, when people want to know what's in it for me, what's in it for you is transformation. This is where you're struggling, or this is where there's inefficiencies. This is where, if you know how to go in and maybe you're a trainer, this is where your morale issues are, and this is how I can help you. This is what I've done before with other organizations. You can talk to them. That's why I said it's important to get those referrals, to get the recommendations, to get testimonials. So it's not you just talking about it. Other people are talking about you as well.
And for someone who does not have an inherent problem with self-promotion, they're quite able to tell you what they've done, and they're confident about it in a good way. But they're having trouble differentiating their unique brilliance. What they trying to just really hone in on what makes me so unique. As you said, there are millions of people that do what you do, but no one can do as you. How do you face that? How do you find that little diamond that you are?
It kind of goes back to looking back and being reflective. When I really began to find out what was my unique brilliance that I brought, I brought the ability to do systems, and a lot of people can do systems. A lot of people can do strategy. There's a lot of consultants. But how I was able to bring a team together, to motivate a team using my unique personality and who I am, made a difference. And that was when I went back and I began to ask people that I worked on teams with, what was their perception of me, how they thought I brought to the table was working on a team. They mentioned the technical skills that I brought. They mentioned, the theory that I knew. But one of the things that really stood out was the fact that even in places that were, difficult transitions or difficult pivots or difficult decisions that needed to be made, there might have been some conflict, I had an innate ability how to bring everybody together and to make everyone feel valued, and everyone's opinion feel viewed, and to pull out the best that people offer, and also to position people. So it was those kind of soft things that, along with my technical ability, that really made me stand out, and people resonated with that. Again, example, I had a situation with there was a large conflict that was going on in a department, and because of peer pressure, people were trying to, they were kind of going with who, the main person in the group was, rather than voicing their own concerns. And I was willing to stand up and say, yes, there's issues, but I don't agree this is the right way to go. And that made me stand out to management. I wanted to see, they said, if they have someone who's willing to go against the status quo, risk being isolated and ostracized because of what it was, my values and my beliefs, they said those are core values that we want implemented and carried throughout this organization. So that's what stood out, not my scientific ability, but that core view and those values I had and how I brought them and integrated them in the work that I did.
So, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing, being so open with us and sharing your journey with us. There are more questions that we could not get to. We are just a minute over the top of the hour. Thank you very much for all of your time. I know you put in a lot of time before you meet with us, as well as this hour, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you. And to all of our listeners, thank you again for spending an hour of your day with us. I hope Michelle's presentation leaves you energized and inspired to go and find your own brilliance factor and bring them forward, become a brand in demand. Just like Michelle, you're an amazing example. We all have lots that we can do to try and emulate your success. But thank you again very much. And to everyone else, please join us for our next webinar on October 13th. now that we'll be in demand and have our Brilliance, we can learn about small moves, big changes that can be transformative with Caroline Arnold next month. So, and thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.